So Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, and it's a month of fasting, prayer, reflection, charity and community. During Ramadan, Muslims fast from dawn until sunset, refraining from food and drink amongst other things. We get up before dawn to have something to eat, and we call this meal the suhoor, and we then break the fast at sunset with a meal which is called iftar. The purpose of fasting during Ramadan is to develop self-discipline, gratitude and empathy for those that are less fortunate than us. It's also a time for increased prayer, reading the Quran and charitable giving. Ramadan usually lasts 29 to 30 days, depending on the sighting of the new moon, and it ends with a festival called Eid al-Fitr, which is a celebration where we get together, get dressed in our best clothes, spend some time with loved ones and eat lots of food. I always describe fasting in Ramadan as a spiritual boost or a reset that really helps me get in the right headspace for the year ahead. Not eating and drinking during the day helps me focus my mind, and I usually find myself more productive than normal after my body's had a few days to adjust after the first or second fast. It makes me more grateful for everything that I have in my life, and it makes me aware of those that are less fortunate than me and what I can do to help them. I also try to spend some time in the mosque. Every evening there's a collective prayer that we attend called the Tarawih, which helps build a sense of community and togetherness. It's great to see Muslims of so many different backgrounds and nationalities come together for a common purpose. I'm really fortunate that my local mosque has a really diverse mix of Muslims, so I get to appreciate the various ways in which Muslims of different backgrounds observe the month of Ramadan. Fasting in Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, which are the core tenets or commands that Muslims are required to adhere to. In addition to that, I feel energised during and after the month of Ramadan, and it gives me a boost in how I go about practising my faith for the rest of the year. Over the past 2 years, my eldest and middle daughters have started fasting, and that's added another dimension, which has meant that it's something that we get to do together as a family, and I've really enjoyed that. There's no getting away from the fact that there are people within our communities here in the UK and around the world that don't have sufficient food or safe drinking water. And spending time fasting reminds us of the plight of those people, and it encourages us to do whatever we can to make a difference in whichever way we can. And charity is a fundamental part of Islam anyway, but we see an increase in charitable giving during the month of Ramadan, with collections for different causes taking place every night at the mosque and elsewhere. Everyone's different, so there's no one size fits all, so I would encourage people to talk to their colleagues that are fasting about what adjustments they need, if anything. For example, it really doesn't bother me if people are eating or drinking around me during Ramadan, and my role gives me the flexibility to be able to break off from what I'm doing for the designated prayer times, but everyone's situation is different, so I'd encourage you to just ask. The key for me is to talk to people and be flexible where you can to help colleagues that are fasting, and it might be something as simple as scheduling break times for colleagues that are working a late shift so they can line up with the iftar time in the evening, or making a space available where they can pray. Another example might be to avoid scheduling meetings late in the day so that people have time to get home and prepare their iftar meal. This year the iftar times are going to be around 6:30 p.m, so just be mindful of that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Look out for the comms in the next few weeks on some community iftar events that we will be supporting, and come along and join us for iftar.